look forward to another one here tonight and hope we get it in the cold, clear temperatures of Atlanta. Card is sideways, the gate is about to drop, and round 5 of the Camel Supercross Series will be underway, and there they go. Guy Cooper almost hit a bale on the right-hand side. That shoved him right into the middle of the pack. Cooper is going to have to work awfully hard if he wants to be a factor in this one. The first couple of laps in any competition are critical. Supercross even more so. It's a tight track. The corners are very tight. The straightaways are narrow. A lot of jumps. There are motorcycles and bodies flying all over the place. And until they sort themselves out, it's an extremely critical time on a racetrack. Johnny O'Mara right now, number 9 is the leader. The O-Show, former Supercross champion, is showing the rest of the field the short way around this pack. Now O'Mara has switched to Kawasaki for this year, and it was expected it would take him a long time to become familiar with the bikes, but it looks like he's got them handled right now. Behind him, Damon Bradshaw, number 8 aboard the Yamaha. There's Rick Johnson, number 13 on the left side of your screen. Cooper has passed an amazing number of riders. He's number 4 aboard that Suzuki. Cooper is not waiting around for the rest of the pack. He is really working his way through traffic. Up front, though, Dave, the battle is between number 9, Johnny O'Mara, and the young Damon Bradshaw.
The veteran of a kid, O'Mara's been at this about 9 years. Bradshaw, brand new this year, won the first 2 races in the series. Remember, he's riding with a sore ankle by virtue of a couple of hard crashes. Here he is challenging for the lead. Oh, and Bradshaw cased it hard on top of the jump. Lost the opportunity to take the lead. Settles back into second, looking over his shoulder. He sees his old nemesis, Jeff Matasevich, the other rookie who was the point leader coming into this race. Good battle.
Good battle indeed. We've got him all over the track. There goes Bradshaw to the inside. He takes over the number 1 position. Right behind him, Stanton moves into 3rd. He cleaned Matasevich's clock. And look, here comes Rick Johnson. We have got all kinds of action on this racetrack, and it's only the first couple of laps.
It's critical, though, Larry, because everybody wants to stay inside that top 3 or 4 spots. If you get further back than that, even though it's a long way to the finish, it's going to be very difficult to make the passes you have to get all the way to the front. So that big scramble back there is to stay inside of Damon Bradshaw, stay in that top 3 or 4. Stanton is at the tail end of that, and now here comes Ricky Johnson up, and he's challenging Stanton.
They call it momentum. You can call it adrenaline, anything you want. Right now, there's about 7, 8 guys out there that have got it, Dave. I've never seen a race like this early in the ball game. They're not waiting at all. Normally, they would let themselves get sorted out just a little bit, but every one of the riders have dropped the hammer. They're headed for the front, and just as you said, no one wants to be left out. It's Damon Bradshaw aboard that white Yamaha. He's rider number 8, Charlotte, North Carolina. He won the opening 2 rounds, injured his ankle, and he's been off the motorcycle for the better part of 2 weeks.
That's no way to train, obviously. You want to ride to train. His timing will suffer. I don't think physical condition is too big a problem. If the ankle's healthy, he'll be able to go first class because he's a 17-year-old kid. He's plenty strong. He'll get Stanton making moves on the inside. Again, wants to get around O'Mara, wants to go after Bradshaw.
Johnny O'Mara holding the number 2 position. He's rider number 9 aboard that green Kawasaki. Right behind him comes our defending champion. There he is, Jeff Stanton out of Sherwood, Michigan. And right behind Stanton is number 13, 2-time Supercross champion Rick Johnson. The battle right now, though, in the front 4 position, you can throw a blanket over them as they're throwing dirt on each other. Look at that.
And look at that, as inside of Johnny O'Mara goes number 1. That is your series champ, Jeff Stanton. Nice move. It's good to see Johnson up in the middle of this. He's been fighting that hurt wrist from a year ago. It's been almost exactly a year ago that he broke his arm. He's finally feeling healthy again, and he's up into the thick of this thing.
Shades of Atlanta 1 year ago. That was an extremely exciting race, as we saw in that replay just a couple of moments ago. We've got another one now. Where did Guy Cooper come from? All of a sudden, Cooper has put in an appearance. He's right up with the leaders. Cooper has come from nowhere.
Super Coop reeled him in. What happened, I think, Larry, is they got beaten on each other, and they left him some good lines, and he jumped in there. He's already passed Ricky Johnson, and he's working on Johnny O'Mara. They are shuffling 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th spot like hot potatoes. Matasevich is coming, so is Kedrowski.
Damon Bradshaw out in front is missing one heck of a race, but somehow I just don't think that he minds. He'd like to keep that back. And here comes O'Mara right back. Look at that. O'Mara stuffs Stanton and retakes the number 2 position. And that slowed Stanton just enough so that Cooper dove to the outside and double jumped over the top of both of them. Cooper is moving. O'Mara is moving. Stanton is moving. Johnson is moving. But they're all behind this 17-year-old youngster from Charlotte, North Carolina.
I think the key here is that Bradshaw is setting a very fast pace. He's making everybody else to hurry to keep up. The other thing, Larry, I think they like this racetrack a whole lot. There's plenty of racing room out there. Cooper got shuffled aside for a moment. Stanton came back underneath him. Now O'Mara will attack him. Johnson is up the inside. I can't keep up up with the
Dave.
passes.
Can
you?
Up with them. I've never seen riders 3 and 4 abreast going through whoop sections. They're swapping positions back and forth. It's impossible to keep up with. I have never seen this kind of race action.
Give number 11, Kadrowski, a call on the inside. Whoa, the champ's in trouble. Into the bales goes Jeff Stanton. He got her sideways in the whoops. By the time he got it sorted out, he dropped at least 4 or 5 spots. Bradshaw, again, setting a fast pace, putting the pressure on. First guy to crack was the champ.
And I can't believe, Dave, that we have not seen more riders crack other than Stanton. The pressure is intense. They're just beating each other up. We'll be back with more exciting action right after. This is round 5. They have been beating on each other since the opening lap. Guy Cooper has now moved into contention. He's up to the number 2 position. The only rider in front of him, between him and the checkered flag, if ultimately he can't get there, is Damon Bradshaw. And there's Rick Johnson, 2-time Supercross champ. And Johnson is riding the best we have seen him ride all year, Dave.
He's going after Cooper for sure, and they seem to be able to open up a little interval now back to the 4th place man. It's Kadrowski who has broken out of that pack and moved into 4th, but for the first time tonight, whoa, wait a minute, Cooper's almost off the motorcycle. I was about to say that things had stabilized for a moment.
I don't think anything can stabilize this pack of riders. They're all hungry. They're all aggressive. They're all looking for the win. Bradshaw out front. There's Guy Cooper, number 4, running into number 2 position. It's Johnson in 3rd. And now here comes Kadrowski leading the rest of that pack in 4th. And they've started to close the gap again. I think what happens, Dave, is they have to be a little bit on the defensive side up front. Bradshaw is protecting his lead. Cooper's protecting second while he's trying to pass, and Johnson's doing the same thing. That slows him down just a little bit.
Cooper may be the guy with the highest motivation level of anybody here. Number 4 has never won one of these Supercross races, and that's a tremendous amount of drive. When you can get this close, when you can see it out there and know that all you got to do is keep your concentration, keep your lines, go fast, catch the kid, pass him, and you're a winner. He's tremendously motivated. He's pulling away a little bit from Johnson.
And look at this. Guy Cooper now is closing on Bradshaw as we talk. Here's another motivating factor. It's Guy Cooper's birthday. He told me earlier this evening, he said, I want everyone to sing happy birthday to me if I win. And I think that's what he's looking for. There goes Cooper. What a pass. I don't know where he found the room. I don't know where he got the drive. He blasted by Damon Bradshaw and has taken over the number 1 spot. Can Bradshaw come back?
Ty Bradshaw had some challenge here. He's had it pretty much his own way. Everybody else back there has had their hands full all night. Let's see what the kid does under pressure now, as Johnson will be moving up on him. I'm impressed with Johnson. He is not fading. He's not going soft. He has been as tough tonight as we've seen him ever since that injury a year ago.
Well, he's putting in the kind of a ride you would expect from a champion, and that's exactly what he is. There are other champions that are out in front of him. There's one right there. He's got to be my hero right now. Coming from out of the pack to overhaul Bradshaw, taking over that number 1 spot, and he's doing it right on the ragged edge. I mean, this guy is all over the racetrack.
That may be his downfall, Larry. He's riding the thing awfully hard, and there's still a long way to go. You got to stay cool. Yes, you got to hurry. Yes, you got to go fast, but if you throw it away, it's all over with.
In order to get the number 1 points, you first have to finish. That's an old saying, and I guess it holds true in Supercross just as it does anywhere else. Cooper man. They call him Sky Cooper. They call him... Oh, Cooper stalls the bike. Cooper got down off that jump, and you're right, he kicked it out of gear. And that's costly for Guy Cooper, well back in the pack. He got it running again, but all of that ground that he had made up, he's all the way back to 4th. Bradshaw gets back out in that number 1 spot.
I'll tell you what, Cooper's okay here. If he can just put that out of his mind, not beat himself up over it, come right back and do his business. Because you can see, they're right there. He's not that far behind. He's no farther behind than he was 5 laps ago, and he went from there to lead. Bradshaw back on top, chuckling in his sleeve and saying, well, nobody can beat me.
Well, that's a good point, Dave. On the other hand, it could work against Cooper. He could be thinking, boy, I screwed that up. Am I going to do it again if I make another pass? But I don't think so. I think you're right. Look at he put the moves on. He's drawn up to the rear fender of Rick Johnson. Look at Mike Kadrowski. Kadrowski is another one of those riders that we said was back there hovering around, and all of a sudden he's in second. I don't understand. I don't know where they're coming from. Where are they getting the drive?
I got a glimpse of Jeff Ward there, number 3. First time we've seen him moving toward the front of that pack. He's around Matasevich back at the tail end of the whoops there. Key thing is that there are still 7 or 8 guys all within striking distance of the lead. I don't know how many times we should be allowed to say this is the best Supercross race we've ever seen. I'm going to take one more right here.
And we still have several laps to go. It's just intense racing. Bradshaw holds on to the number 1 spot. He's aboard that number 8 white Yamaha. Right behind him, his arch rival for the past couple of years. They split championships in the 125 class just 1 year ago. Bradshaw winning the Supercross title, and Kedrowski taking the outdoor title, and they were both hard fought. A lot of banging, a lot of harsh words, and a lot of ill feelings. I don't know that any of that is carried over to the 250 class, but if they get up there and start banging on each other, we're apt to find out. Bradshaw the leader, Kedrowski running second. There's Guy Cooper running third. He passed Johnson. Cooper has moved up to the number 3 spot. Johnson back in fourth.
We get occasional glimpses, too, of the number 1 machine, and that is, of course, the series champ, Jeff Stanton. He's regrouped after his little off-track excursion and is trying to stalk his way back up. Oh, Kedrowski into Bradshaw. He came through there like a bowling ball and knocked Bradshaw in the bales, Larry.
Just like he was a pin. Now, look, Kedrowski is trailing about 1.5 miles of Coors Extra Gold Super Challenge banners. They caught in his wheel, and I can't imagine, if Johnson, who was right behind him, runs over him, that could upset him. No, now look at this.
Kicked him into the wheel.
Sucked him right up inside the wheel. Oh!
No brakes. I'll bet you a quarter, Larry. He got tangled up in the brake, and he ran in, didn't know it, and stuffed it in the bales.
Dave, we need to go back and take a look at that entire sequence again.
It starts with Kedrowski coming in too hot in a place you just can't pass. Figured he'd use Bradshaw for traction. Did. Bounced Damon off the hay bales. Kept on going. Paid for it, though, when the streamers tangled up apparently in the brakes. When he went in to make the turn, he couldn't slow down. He hit the bales, and he's out of there.
Back to the action. There's Rick Johnson. He's dropped back to the number 3 position. He's been passed by number 3. We caught just a glimpse of him, Jeff Ward. There's your leader, rider number 4, Guy Cooper. Cooper inheriting the lead when Kedrowski went down. And this is the second time in this race that Cooper has led. And it's not over yet. Not by a long shot. We'll be back with more great racing action from Atlanta right after this. Motorcycle Supercross Series. It's the Coors Extra Gold Super Challenge main event. Guy Cooper is your leader. He's number 4 aboard that yellow Suzuki. Right behind him, number 13. 2 times the Supercross champion, Rick Johnson. Johnson has moved into that number 2 position behind Johnson. A whole pass of the riders, and any one of them could sneak through and grab that number 1 spot before this is over. There are 5 laps remaining, and the way it's been going, I would say we could very well end up with 5 leaders between now and that checkered flag.
Well, for the moment, Larry, it's a little more stable than it has been up until now, and it may be that Cooper and Johnson have decided they're going to quit messing with each other and just go on. You see the interval back to the 3rd place guy, Jeff Ward. It is, well, substantial by comparison to what we've seen up until now. It's certainly not very much, but Ward may not be able to catch these guys if they just put their heads down and go.
Well, now, Ward did it earlier. He came from further back than he is right now. He was well back in the pack, but you're right. At that time, Cooper and Johnson and Jeff Stanton was up there. They were riding a little on the defensive side. They were worried about each other. That gave Ward the opportunity. Guy Cooper, meanwhile, is still on the ragged edge. That guy can go so fast while looking out of control and holding onto the motorcycle. I don't know how he does it.
Johnson's trying to cross him up here. He's changed his lines a little bit because he wants to keep the pressure on Cooper. That's exactly what we were talking about. If Johnson's going to race Cooper for the lead, Ward's going to have a chance to run him down.
This is the thing that Rick Johnson was not doing early in the season, Dave. He was content to follow other riders, and in the process, he would be zapped. Now Johnson is looking like the old Rick Johnson in that he's looking for new lines. He's looking for new places to go on a racetrack. See there, he goes high, trying to cut down to the inside. He goes low and tries to work up. And now he's side by side with Cooper, but Cooper has just a little bit more, and he gets to the corner before Rick Johnson does.
The old Ricky Johnson never doubted that he could pass anybody on any racetrack anytime he wanted to.
There, Dave, he did it again. He found a new line on the inside, just as you were talking about it. A brand new line. Look, there, he's doing it again. That's Rick Johnson, vintage Rick Johnson, and Johnson has taken over the number 1 spot. Unbelievable competition here in Atlanta.
Ward's right on top of him. As they got racing side by side, it slowed one another down, and Ward is suddenly there. Cooper will start trying the desperation moves now, and indeed, Johnson now has that confidence he had a year ago. Cooper up the inside, going for it. They are really running out of the ragged edge of Cooper on this track.
Sideways. He had the lead there just for a couple of seconds, and that would have been for the 3rd time tonight. Cooper totally sideways. I don't know how he pulled it back.
Watch Jeff Ward. He's after these guys with a vengeance. He's finding some great lines out there, and as Johnson pulls away just a little bit here from Cooper, I'm not sure, but what Jeff Ward may be the man to watch.
Well, Ward has had the opportunity to study the lines of Johnson and of Cooper. He knows where they're going to be on every inch of this racetrack, and that's a very good point. He could be the guy to watch just because of that. Right now, though, the man out front is the one that I'm watching, and I'm really happy to see him out there. it's good to see Rick Johnson, the Magic Man, the winningest rider in the history of Supercross, back.
So much of a sport like this is your psychological makeup. Yeah, you got to be healthy. Yeah, you got to be in great condition. But you got to think you can beat everybody else. And if you're hurt, you don't always think that. Johnson thinks that again, although Cooper thinks otherwise. Unbelievable. What a pass.
A great block pass. He just drove to the inside of Johnson. Johnson never had a prayer. He could have turned it up another 1,000 RPMs and wouldn't have caught him. Now side by side through these long doubles. And Johnson squirts to the inside, gives Cooper a little bit of a bump. They both stay upright, and look where Jeff Ward is.
Look at him come down that set of whoops. He's got a little different angle, and he's under Johnson.
Block pass. A perfect block pass. He just drove to the inside of Johnson, and Johnson, I don't think he knew Ward was there.
He's run that line about the last 3 laps. He comes across those whoops at an angle. Traditionally, you run them straight. Ward's trying something different. It worked on Johnson. The crowd begins to go nuts. They're wondering if he can pull the same move on Cooper. I don't know. They're running out of time. Johnson is coming back at him. What a Supercross race.
Well, we have just slightly over 1 lap to go when they hit that white flag across the finish line jump. That'll be 1 lap remaining in this one. And the question is, can Cooper hold off 1 more charge? Jeff Ward has the adrenaline flowing. And at this point, I'm not going to count out Rick Johnson. He's back there working awfully hard on the motorcycle and on the track. There was the white flag. We're settled down now to less than a mile of racing room remaining in this Atlanta Fulton County State. There he goes. Same place. You're right, Dave.
Same line. He figured that out, Larry, as you said, while he was chasing those guys. He saw what they were doing. He figured out another way to do it. In 2 laps, he used it twice. He passed both guys. He's going to win the race.
Let me point something else out to you. I still do not believe that Guy Cooper knew who was coming behind him. I believe that he thought Johnson was back there, and Johnson had been reacting one way through that corner, and Jeff Ward reacted a different way, went to the inside, and blocked Cooper. He made the pass, took over the #1 spot. Extremely exciting racing. We want to say thank you to Super Sports Promotions for making this telecast possible, and of course to the American Motorcyclist Association. And the checkered flag is Jeff Ward with a triple pumper, and he was still pumping him as he went off the end of that jump. With